Hi guys, welcome back to SwitchUp. So it's finally time to go back to our faithful series, the upcoming games list. And well, there's some decent ones coming in the next week, which is nice. You'll also notice that Glen and I have been smashing out the reviews because there are so many games to review that are actually worth our time now, and we want to make sure that they're given the SwitchUp treatment so that you know what to expect. If you enjoyed the video, then maybe leave a comment down below and subscribe if you want to see more. If you absolutely hated it, then let's move on. So let's jump into the list. The first game I want to highlight is coming on the 28th, and it's about £18.89. Well, it's not about that, it's exactly that. It's called Kentucky Route Zero. It's the TV edition from Annapurna Interactive. I really like the look of this game. It looks lovely. It's like a side view adventure title that seems to opt for a silhouette style. It looks really good. It's split over 5 acts featuring a haunting electronic score, and it was originally published over several years, but this is the entire experience. It looks to have a very calming, almost surreal atmosphere, and to my eye is one of those games that blurs the lines between art and a computer game. This looks lovely. From something a little more serious to something absolutely not serious. It's called It Came From Space and Ate Our Brains, and it's from our friends over at All In Games. Now this is a 1 to 4 player co-op experience that takes the top-down twin-stick formula, makes it slightly pixelated, but coats everything in a lovely little neon cyberpunk style aesthetic. It's not the biggest game ever. I think it's around about 6 campaign missions to work through, loads of different weapons and alien types, and it has a banging techno soundtrack as well. It might be worth checking out when it drops next week on the 28th.
Where they eat it. Pair up with a friend, or 2, or 3, if you have that many. And teach these brain-eating aliens a lesson they'll never forget by blasting them back where they came from.
Next up then, we have Actual Sunlight from, I don't even know how to say this, Wazogi? That's probably a silent W, isn't it? Ouch. It's a really interesting looking little story title about love, depression, and the corporation. The game challenges you to confront the slightly miserable looking life of Evan Winter, an overweight, lonely, and severely depressed young professional. Most of it's text-based, and it looks to have a seriously dark humour to it. I can't quite put my finger on why, but I'm quite interested in this one. It's about £8, and it drops on the 28th. Our pals over at Sometimes You, who are absolutely infamous for creating completely different games every single time, are releasing Music Racer, and to be fair, they do a good job on some of these. This Music Racer looks lovely. It's a dynamic rhythm game featuring 14 levels, 25 cars, and there's the ability to customize those as well as 4 different game modes. It's only a single player, as to be honest most rhythm games are, but at around about £5 at launch, it seems to be a touch of a bargain going on here. This could be alright. If you played a game called The Red Strings Club from Devolver Digital, then Coffee Talk is going to be a game that you kind of feel familiar with before you even played it. It's essentially a very similar premise whereby you serve in different cups of coffee, but the way you brew it will help with their problem. I know that sounds really strange, but there's no real simple way of saying it. It really is a game about just listening to people's problems and helping them by serving them up a nice warm beverage. I think that should probably be a cup of tea, but you know, you can't win everything. It's based in and around an alternate universe, Seattle, filled with orcs, mermaids, elves, and other strange mythical creatures. There are tons of different storyline branches that you can actually access depending on how you play and how you brew those beverages. We actually got a code for Bookbound Brigade just today, and when we heard the name Bookbound Brigade, I can't even say it. It sounds more like a cowboy movie involving two men and a... Anyway, it's about £18. It drops on the 29th, and it's actually a side-scrolling puzzle platformer, I believe, or platform action game that features both fictional and non-fictional heroes from history as you blast through a load of Metroidvania-style levels. I know we've had a great deal of Metroidvanias, but it looks like this has got its own unique twists on many of the gameplay mechanics you might be used to. HYPERCHARGE Unboxed, which we reviewed on the channel from Digital Cherries, is a really nice Toy Story comes first-person shooter game. What I most enjoyed about this one, other than the fact that you can enjoy it with a few of your pals and just do 4-player online co-op, is they also include 4-player split screen locally on the Nintendo Switch, which is fantastic, and it really works well. Another thing that's nice is the amount of customization you can make to your character, and it's really an active developer who's constantly working to improve the game. One final aside, I'm so glad they actually used proper weapon sounds, as it just gives everything that feeling that you're a kid again, just with your little toy soldiers mucking about. Very fun game, and we enjoyed it a lot. Check out our review. There's no denying that Glen and I have reviewed some pretty strange games on this channel, but I think Aviary Attorney, the definitive edition, is just about one of the strangest games I've ever seen. You play as a bird detective, a bit like Sherlock Holmes with a beak. And it's a bit of a visual novel come text-based adventure, and there's something about this one as well. It's based in 1848 in Paris, and it's on the brink of another revolution. And playing as Monsieur J.J. Falcon, you take on several clients and try to help them out with their problems. If you're keen for another shoot 'em up, then Sisters Royale 5 Sisters Under Fire also comes next week, and it's a reasonably priced £10-ish. Interestingly, it's the first game in 12 years from Alpha System, the team that brought us shoot 'em up classics Castle of Shikigami and Castle of Shikigami 3. Its unique feature is the tension bonus system, the TBS, meaning that your score and number of coins multiplies based on your distance from enemies and their attacks. Skellboy had my radar tingling from the second I saw it. It looks really interesting. It combines almost a 3D style with 2D pixel art. Everything's actually three-dimensional, but plays on that 2D style. It's really well done, this. What's really interesting about this one is that you can actually get new clothing and items that change your abilities. We've had a few VR games come to the Switch recently. Next up is Eclipse Edge of Light from White Elk. After you've crash landed on a sentient planet, you'll wait to discover a dreamscape world filled with alien wonder and the remains of a betrayed civilization. You're equipped with a jetpack and are tasked really with just investigating and finding out exactly what's happened here. I love games like this. I'm sure it's a bit of a walking simulator combined with perhaps some puzzle solving, but it does look really nice. Now, Glen's reviewed Never Again from Red Black Spade, and he thoroughly enjoyed the game. Now, it didn't potentially start out as well as we'd hoped, but needless to say, by the end, well, he was sending me texts saying, oh my goodness, and I can't spoil it, but it's worth playing. It's definitely worth playing. The developer have done something very unique, very clever, and quite stylish. Okay, Heroland from Marvelous Europe was released a while back actually in America. It describes itself as a group of part-time heroes taking on a retro RPG adventure. You're initially invited to a magical resort where anyone can be a hero except for you. Sounds like my life. Luckily, it's on an island where dreams come true for a price. You can recruit over 20 different characters, and that mixture of 2D sprites and a 3D background, again, it looks really nice. But that premise, I enjoy that. I think this could be a good laugh. Our penultimate game then, we have Ash of God's Redemption from Koch Media. But this one, it looks like Banner Saga, doesn't it? And that in no way is a negative thing. It looks to have turn-based combat, fantastic visuals, and a rich RPG-based story about 3 different heroes facing an ancient mythical evil, but who also come from really different backgrounds. Now, the developers say that the story can change at any time depending on the choices you make, which I've heard so many times before, and it'll be interesting for our review to see if that actually pans out. Now, mixing games and politics is a dangerous move, but not tonight. Take Back Control Edition from No More Robots has quite clearly taken influence from the recent Brexit situation. I actually really like the look of the game, but can't really work out what on earth you have to do. You man the doors of pubs, clubs, festivals and parties, finding work via the Bouncer app. You got to check IDs, manage guest lists and stop revelers from becoming unruly. You upgrade your apartment, bouncer and equipment to better prepare yourself for the future and decide what lengths you'll go in order to survive in Britain on the verge of collapse. Well, there you go. So now you know exactly what you do. So there we have it. I hope you've enjoyed this list. Please leave a like and all that jazz and say hello down in the comments. We give away free games each and every month. And in fact, I've just been given 2 copies of the beautiful looking Ember. So be sure to check out our sales video if you haven't done so already to find out how you can win those. A big thanks to the patrons who support us each and every month. And as always, from Glen and I, for all things Switch all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers guys. See ya!